Hello again and welcome to another Genestealer cult video. Before we get into today's video, I would like to say a big thank you to Haterus Monarch for sending in these awesome pictures of his Patriarch and his throne. Absolutely love this conversion. Sums up everything that a classic Genestealer cult army should be about. Looks amazing. Big old brain box on top of that throne, instructing his minions on how to overthrow the oppressors. Glory be to the four-armed emperor. I mean, you know, death to the Genestealer cult, scum. Anyway, thank you for sending in these pictures. If anyone else has got any cool pictures they want me to use in my videos, please post them on my Facebook page. There will be a link down in the description below. Now, without further ado, let's get into today's video. And what I want to do today, guys, is a quick tip tactica video for all you Genestealer cult players out there. One of the things that I've always struggled with Genestealer cult has been getting enough mortal wound output. You see, unlike mainline Tyranids who have access to things like zonothropes and other ways of getting lots of mortal wounds out there, Genestealer cult have always kind of struggled. You got smite and you have a few sniper characters, and in theory the Clamorous can do a bit of dubstep, but it's not ideal. And the problem with a lot of our psychers is that we've got lots of other psychic powers that you want them to be doing, like Might from Beyond, for example, or Mind Control. But what I found with the release of Psychic Awakening is there's a very easy way to get a bit of smite spam or pseudo smite spam into your army, and I really love this combo, and I actually use it in all my Genestealer cult battles now, and I have to say it's good. It tends to get its points back, and is a good way of just laying down, an average of 3 mortal wounds a turn. And if you're lucky, you can put 9 mortal wounds a turn down with this. So, that's pretty good. So what am I talking about? Well, with the release of Psychic Awakening the Greater Good, the Genestealer cult got some new stratagems. Now, a lot of people have dismissed them because on sort of first impressions, Genestealer cult didn't get a great Psychic Awakening. But there's actually a few hidden gems in there. A few hidden gems. And one of the ones that I want to look at is the tactic which I have nicknamed the Karen. Okay, the Karen. Now, it's a very simple tactic. What you do is you take a Genestealer cult Magus. Preferably you take the female Magus model for the Karen joke to work. And what you do is, very simply, is you spend a CP pre-game and you use the stratagem for 1 CP, the Cult Psyche. And specifically it says, use a stratagem before the battle, select 1 Cult Magus unit from your army. That unit can attempt to manifest 1 additional psychic power in your psychic phase. When a psychic test is taken for that unit, add 1 to the total for each other friendly Cult Psyche unit within 3 inches to a maximum of +3. You can only use the stratagem once per battle. So what you do, guys, is very simple. You take your Karen and you give her the Smite Psychic Power, and you give her the Psionic Blast Psychic Power, which is another Genestealer cult offensive one, which basically means you pick a unit within 18 inches, you roll 2d6, if you equal or beat their leadership, they take d3 mortal wounds, and if you don't, they still take a mortal wound. So, on average, this psychic person is screeching at the enemy, demanding to see the manager, and is doing an average of 3 mortal wounds a turn. Over the course of 5 turns, that's 15 mortal wounds. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Now, take into account the fact that you'll be having +3 to cast your Psionic Blast, because you'll want to surround your Magus with a few extra units to take advantage of the Cult Psyche, which means every turn you'll be getting Psionic Blast off automatically. It's like, spend 1 CP, do at least 1 mortal wound every turn. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Probably going to get a couple of D3 mortal wounds. On average, you should, if you get it off every turn, you should beat someone's leadership twice. So actually, that's additional mortal wounds. So actually, you'll do 7 mortal wounds over the course of the game with that 1 power. That's pretty good. And then your smite every turn will be getting off additional, on average, 10 mortal wounds. So you've got a unit which could be putting out 17 mortal wounds a turn. And if you're lucky, you'll get a super smite here and there. So you could be doing, with a little luck on your side, or playing the -1 to enemy leadership game, or minus multiples to enemy leadership game. You could be doing 20 mortal wounds. So this one character could take out 2 Primaris squads on her own, just by screeching at them and demanding to see the manager. Now, you can try and boost it a little bit another way, which is if you go Hive Cult, you can take the Hive Cult Psychic Power Psionic Blast. Not Psionic Blast, Synaptic Blast, sorry. Now, Synaptic Blast, it's tricky to pull off, but it is doable. So, Synaptic Blast, so we've got a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, selects one enemy unit within 18 inches of and visible to the Psychic, or D6 equal to the number of Hive Cult models from your army within 3 inches of that unit. Each roll of 6, that unit suffers a mortal wound. So, how you set this up is you get a big block of, say, Brood Brothers. Oh yeah, we've been talking about Brood Brothers, they're quite good. Take a big block of Brood Brothers, and then you just charge them in. You just charge them in, or you just get them really up close and personal to the enemy. Because that happens, how you want to do it is, because that happens in the movement phase. You just move, you don't actually get them in, you don't actually charge them, you just get them within like a couple of inches of the enemy. And then you just get off Psionic Blast, and you've got, 20 guys. That's 20 dice you get to roll. That's 3 mortal wounds on average. There's 20 opportunities. It's potentially 20 mortal wounds, but statistically, you're going to get 3 mortal wounds. And if you take a Familiar on your Magus, you can do all 3 in one turn. So you could drop your Magus down, move your Brood Brothers into range of the enemy, and then in one turn go Smite, D3 mortal wounds. Psionic Blast, D3 mortal wounds. Synaptic Blast, 20 dice, potentially another 3 mortal wounds. So on average in one turn, with a little luck, you could get a lot of mortal wounds off on an enemy unit. That's pretty good. You can start adding things like the Crouchling in there, so that then you get another +1 when you're casting, so potentially you get +3 to cast some of these psychic powers. And generally speaking, guys, but again, we always talk about this bronze, silver, gold tier. Simplest way of doing this is taking a Magus and giving them this Cult Psyche, and every turn just being like Psionic Blast and Smite, Psionic Blast and Smite. And over the course of 5 turns, like I said, you'll do at least 15 wounds. Statistically, you'll do 15 wounds. You'll beat the leadership a couple of times, so you should do. You could do between 17 and 20 wounds. You get a couple of super smites in there. That could be pretty good. I mean, just let me just double check one thing about that Cult Psyche power. Is it only for the Broodmind discipline? No, it's not only for the Broodmind discipline. Interesting. How interesting, guys. So what that means is, with the Cult Psyche, if you put 3 units of something cheap around your Psyche, you're getting +3 to cast. Which means you super smite on an 8+. I believe I'm correct. Correct me if I am wrong. But you will be super smiting on your super smite on 11 or 12. So on this case, you'll be super smiting on an 8+. Now, unfortunately, the Crouchling only affects Broodmind discipline. Otherwise, you'd be doing it on a 7+. But the point is it's a semi-reliable way of getting a super smite off every turn with a psychic, with a command reroll here and there. Very, very possible. So the Karen is a very powerful unit, and if you take into account that with the Cult Psyche, you'll be getting off at least 5 mortal wounds from your Broodmind discipline, from your Psionic Blast, but more like 7, and then you're likely to get a couple of super smites off as well, which is an average of 7 mortal wounds from those super smites. So that's 14, and then you add your other 3 regular smites in there. That's potentially 20. On average between 20 and 23 mortal wounds you'll be doing a turn. That's pretty good. And then you start thinking about adding that Synaptic Blast in there as well. You do that a couple of turns. So you've got, if you play your cards right and you set it up and you put a bit of effort in, and you put a bit of CP and a few points behind it, could be doing 30 mortal wounds a game for one model. That's pretty good. That's a lot of mortal wounds. But you have to set it up. That's the thing. You have to set it up. So it's tricky, but it is doable. Let me know what you think about the Karen down in the comment section below. Do you think it could work? Do you think it's a waste of time, too fiddly, too much set up? Or do you think it's just a lot of mortal wounds you can just spam out over the course of a game? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And of course, I'll see you next time.